In order to make the world simpler, we create stereotypes. Look this way, and you will like this music, do these things, be friends with these people. When we stereotype or create categories, we no longer have to look at an individual, but can assume we know everything about them based on one aspect of how they look, one thing they do, one thing they have done, or one small aspect of what constitutes them as a person. A sea of 7 billion people suddenly becomes manageable groups of sames. This categorization is not one way. When we have these set categories, anyone who by either their actions or appearances fits in order to be taken seriously, is expected to conform to meet these expectations. Take the stereotype of Asians. You have to be good at math. You are not a real Asian, as someone has told me, if you are not good at math. Or, in a movie example, Katie in Mean Girls can't join the mathletes or wear certain clothing because she is a plastic. Athletics have long been the same way. Take the typical jock, dumb, muscular, out of his mind, rowdy, a troublemaker, and always amped during gym. While none of the above pertains to every jock, with each being arguable, if not downright wrong, the key word to the above stereotype is his. Girls are not the typical athlete. Even today, running like a girl, throwing like a girl, and just plain playing like a girl are all insults used to critique someone's inability to perform athletically. Girls are not athletes. So what happens when we try to classify girls' athletics? Since girls are not as good as guys, girls' lax basketball, soccer, volleyball, and every other sport is lame. This is a slippery slope. I'm not saying girls' basketball is better or worse, or girls' lacrosse, soccer, or whatever. That is not my goal. But there is then an assumption in society that since girls aren't as good, at the very least athletically, female athletes are wannabes. They want to be good at guys. And taken a step further, they want to be men. They have given up the delicacy of a proper lady and are therefore freaks and undesirable. This is especially true for softball. Softball is not only looked at as a girls' sport and therefore containing freaks and wannabe men, but also looked at as an unsporty female athlete sport, one where you didn't even have to be athletic to play, causing a weird conflicting definition or categorization of a softball player. A want-to-be man or lesbian athlete who's not athletic, since she is not a man, and very undesirable, since she's not even athletic for a girl, which, for a woman, turns again back into unattractive. Which is probably one reason why you end up with something like this for a softball player. I am a softball player. It is one aspect of my life that takes up a lot or most of my time, and is the category I think most people would put me in. As a person, I want to get better at the sport I play and compete at a high level because I love the 7-inning game. I work out every morning before school, focusing on specific muscles and motions that would help me with pitching, not to look super muscular or to become a man, but to be functional and much stronger, and play better. I don't fit either picture of the prototypical softball player or female athlete. I don't have a six-pack, a mustache, am stick-thin, covered in muscles, or just plain fat. I also don't run with my fingers up, worried about chipping a nail, throw a ball awkwardly or slowly, and barely hit a ball anywhere when I make contact. I practice every day after school with my team and pitch and hit afterwards to make sure of this. I'm also not a lesbian. People know the stereotype of softball player doesn't apply to everyone, and in fact most players, but it still persists. In the past, athletics was, and probably still is, a huge hub for more gay women. There is no statistic on the percentage of athletes who were gay versus non-athletes, since there is and was an assumed large percentage of closeted women. There's no denying athletics goes against gender roles. So, someone identifying on a sliding scale of gender more towards the middle for someone biologically female makes sports probably more attractive. However, something I don't understand is when people try and use softball as a derogatory term after claiming there is nothing wrong with homo or any other sexuality. Perhaps I am being paranoid. Many of my best friends in softball actively wear bows, extra makeup, and jewelry to prove they are not manly and not lesbians. I don't really like bows, and most of the time wear sweatpants and a t-shirt and jeans, so my teammates joke I'm the gay one. Perhaps softball players knowing the stereotype make it bigger internally than it actually is, and when someone says softball derogatorily, they mean it in the same way when they say baseball, that it isn't a sport you have to be athletic to play. I've already told you I get up before school each morning to work out, but only in order to play the game at the highest level. I also practice every day after school for 1 to 3 hours with my club or high school team, and afterwards pitch with either my dad or my local pitching coach for another hour. On Fridays, I drive up to Connecticut to pitch with my other pitching coach, who works with a lot of Division I pitchers. I also hit 3 to 5 times a week. I love it, and I'm not telling you this to brag or complain, but inform you that without pitching 6 times a week or hitting as much as I do, I wouldn't be able to improve, and in fact, my mechanics would probably get worse. In softball, fielding is thought of as the easiest part of the game. When a slapper, someone who runs through the box during her swing, hits a normal infield ground ball, by the time the bat makes contact with the pitch, a fielder has 2.4 seconds to receive the ball and throw it to first base before the runner reaches the bag and is safe. In the game, there isn't consistent running, but quick bursts of speed, making it seem less demanding than lax of basketball. Again, my point is not to prove softball is better or harder, or you have to be more athletic to play it, but that its stereotype is obviously wrong. And using the stereotype as a basis to decide everything about me or any other person is unfair. You shouldn't have to dress like a girl to counterbalance your playing as a sport. And you shouldn't have to feel the need to promote your own sexuality loudly to counterbalance the sport you play, or be ridiculed for any sexuality, or be told that you are one sexuality because of the sport you play, or that you are less athletic because you are a girl, or because you like to play one sport more than another. I don't like talking about myself, and therefore this project to me is the worst kind of project. Softball is a 7-inning game. I play it, I have made amazing friends there, and have had an unbelievable experience. It represents more than just a sport to me. In my career as a softball player, I have met lesbians, girls who were straight, bisexual, questioning, fat, strong, skinny, tall, short, built, soft, and no two of them were the exact same. Some liked pop, some country, rap, hip-hop. Some got straight A's, others B's, some C's, some D's, and F's. The point is, we are all individuals. We have our own likes, dislikes, personalities, body shapes, athletic ability, and sexuality. In terms of playing a game, in 7 innings, pitching, catching, fielding, and hitting, competing overall, one's sexual identity does not make you better or worse. One looking like an athlete doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a higher batting average, pitch harder, or field more ground balls. And one not looking like an athlete doesn't mean you play softball, or if you do, that you are worse. My playing softball is only something I do. It is not my personality, my athletic ability, my body type, or my sexuality. But to me, it is a game where I have had huge successes and failures, made great friends, laughed, cried, and so much more. I play softball a lot, and I consider myself a softball player.